Upgrade your OneXplayer X1 device first-person shooter experience with this ultimate mod. Hey fans and subscribers, this is your host Joe with the GamingForInsight channel and another video of Quick Chat. The topic, the ultimate FPS mod you need for your OneXplayer X1 series device. Joining me is returning guest Nelly from Gaming Repairs. Nelly, welcome to Quick Chat.
Thanks for having me.
The mod that we're talking about today is a handheld DIY mod. Now, this mod is originally designed for the Legion Go. The tighter Hall joystick for Legion Go is the official name of it. Now, you may be thinking, well, now, wait a minute. We're talking about installing joysticks in the Legion Go, and you're talking about the X1 series device. So how does this exactly work? You actually, during a quick chat that we recorded, told me about this mod, and so I have been building a guide on this mod, and I have you now to talk about it with you as a guest returning. And this is neat that we can take a mod that's originally designed for the Legion Go and we can install this in the controllers or the controller con that we use for the X1 series line, whether it's the X1 AMD, the X1 Mini, the X1 Intel, the X1 Pro especially. And this can completely change your FPS first-person shooter experience. So let's jump in and talk about doing the mod itself. Now, for me, I do not consider myself the most experienced modder. I've done a handful of mods, but this one was a bit more of a challenge. It was intermediary, I would say, different from the average joystick mod experience. I think it's advantageous to have smaller hands when you go in and work with this mod, but it is achievable. And when it's done, it is such a game changer. But Nelly, what about you? What did you think about the mod itself in comparison to other mods that you have done?
Yeah, I would say it's intermediate, and it depends how far you want to go into the unit. If you do have smaller hands or like a smaller set of tweezers, maybe with an angle, it's a little bit easier. But the toughest part is probably taking off the back plate and not like stripping any screws or cracking it, like, because it is a little bit tighter on there, and some of the screws are a little trickier to get off of the controller. And then when you get to the actual joystick itself, getting the hook undone for the ribbon cable is a little tricky. And so if you're not careful, you can snap that. And if you snap that, you're toast. Like your controller's done. So that's why you have to be very delicate and take it slow and make sure you catch that hook and unhook it. Don't just yank the ribbon cable out. And it is, I mean, you can take apart more things to get into that. But if you want just like a quicker route, if you have a tool that can catch that, that's going to be your best bet for it.
I found the tweezers to be very helpful with my mod. I actually had a pair of tweezers on the side and grabbed those to use especially. And then separating the controller or the back of the controller con itself, I found that it might be best to just see if the screws will come out with the actual back plate of the controller, because they may stay in, but definitely don't be aggressive because you could strip the screws. Let's talk about the games that we enjoy the most with these modded joysticks, because it's been a game changer for me, as I mentioned, and I actually found that I pick up my X1 series devices more to play my favorite FPS games like Doom, Dark Ages. I'm using these devices more because of this mod. How about yourself? What games are you picking up more to play with this mod across your X1 series devices?
Final Fantasy VII I finished, and so that one I did, and I finished with the modded controllers. So I have like a new Ava edition X1, but I didn't want to mod the Ava controllers because, like I said, it's risky, and to get a new set of that, I'm not willing to do that. But I do have a modded regular one, and so I use that with my new unit, and I'm happy using those because it helps me with motion sickness. And that might seem strange, like, you know, about that piece of it, but with an RPG, when you're moving around, if it's just a tighter movements, it helps you just get that better accuracy, so you're not just like whipping the camera, and that's been really helpful for me. So any of those games where you really need to look around a lot, it's been very helpful. So that and Expedition 33, which I just did a video on that the other day, and I did it actually with the G1 and the X1, and my accuracy was better with the X1 because of the controllers having tighter sticks and just more range. And I also don't feel as gross after, like from a motion standpoint, playing the game. So I can play it a lot longer.
Absolutely. And I can imagine with Expedition 33, those shots that you can take for the winged creatures or winged enemies, it's really great to have that control and the maneuverability. The handheld DIY joysticks, they're designed to have 100 GF, 100 grams of force to measure the gait or the resistance. So it's going to take a little bit more force to press the controller or the joystick specifically in the direction that you want to go. And this can provide more control and more maneuverability for your favorite games that you played. And to speak to the motion sickness, because your thumb can more easily move with whether it's the Alps on the default OXP controllers or the Hall effect ones, the fact that you have a higher gait, higher resistance, their measurement, it's going to allow you to not move around as much. And that can definitely make a difference for you. Let's transition to talk about, now we have come on Quick Chat. We've talked about the X1 series devices. We've talked about the clamshell G1 device. And we did an original Quick Chat about which one. Now, I hadn't done this mod before we talked about that. So I'm really interested in your take here, because for me, I was preferring the joysticks on the G1 because there was more resistance in the movement of those joysticks. But now with this mod, which one are you picking up more? And you have your collection of ONEXplayer devices. So I'm interested in your answer here.
Like it's still the X1. I just love it so much. And again, having the controllers that are modded, like I'm playing this with the Ava edition, and it's great. Like, yes, it would be nice to play it with the fancy, nice ones, but also I want to keep those pristine because they're limited edition. So I don't mind playing with this modded Hall effect controller. Like it feels good to play with it. The G1, I still pick it up when I want to go on the go, or, you know, just sitting in bed and I'm just going to grab the clamshell. It's just an easy grab, but the joysticks just make a huge difference. And that's one of the biggest complaints that people have with the X1 is the controllers and the joysticks. And I think that's how we got on this conversation. And funny enough, like that's the conversation I had with OKS Gamer when he said, hey, did you know the Legion Go joysticks actually work in the X1? I'm like, okay, like I got to get on
me
this.
too. Yeah.
Add to cart, like it's going in immediately.
Yeah.
And it's changed everything about those controllers and how I feel about them.
Absolutely. I got 3 sets. I got to complete the mod 3 more times. That's how dedicated I am to this mod. Yeah, like I said, I'm picking up my X1 devices more because of this mod. Well, Nelly, thanks so much for joining Quick Chat, returning to Quick Chat. Fans and subscribers, make sure to like and subscribe for more Quick Chat videos. Nelly, thanks so much for joining, and take care.
Thanks.